Hello, welcome back everyone. There's something happening under our noses that's going to cause the single largest, greatest wealth transfer on a global scale. And it's not crypto, but stick around. I know you're a crypto fan. You want to just hear about crypto. This directly impacts you because it's an opportunity you have because you have the crypto, because you have the assets with you. So there's a statistic here that I want to just draw from. So over the next 20 years, $24 trillion in farmland, barns, and equipment is about to change hands. That's $24 trillion in the US alone that's about to transfer hands, okay? That's a lot of money. The cryptocurrency market cap right now is $2.4 trillion. I'll say it again. This is 10 times more. This is $24 trillion about to change hands. This impacts you because the digital assets that you're holding, when they increase in value, will open up this opportunity for you to not just ride the crypto wave this time. This is how you now increase that wealth even further with an even greater wealth transfer. Right after it, with the money you've made from crypto, you put this into this new wealth transfer thing and you're off. And it also perfectly aligns with how many of you actually view the world in the first place. So this is absolutely fascinating. I want to get into it. This is going to apply basically mostly to the US and the UK, but it's kind of close as well in the next couple of years for Australia as well. If you're in a country other than that, look at what I'm about to tell you in your own country and you might have an opportunity there as well. I just know the majority of people in this audience are in the UK, the US, and in Australia. So this is what has happened. The average age of farmers in the UK and in the US is 60 years old. In Australia, it's 57 years old. So it's between 53 and 57 years old, which is why Australia might lag behind a few years here. What that means is that many of these people who are going to who are 60 now, who in 20 years are going to be 80 and basically not working on the farm. Many of these people have families, but also many of them don't have people to pass on their farmland too. Okay, so that they are now, these are what we call motivated sellers. These are people who are motivated to have their farmland do something for them in terms of like a yield for them, or to sell it to get rid of the pressure and all the pain. And that's truly hard work in farmland and managing farmland. I know also many of you here love the idea of separating from the system, moving away from all the control and just going to live off grid. Like literally surround yourself with no one, barricade yourself in, build a bunker, all of that type of stuff. I know there's a lot of you. This is the right opportunity right now to start looking at farmland. Start looking at farmland. There's going to be more motivated sellers, farmers who want to get rid of this land, who don't have anyone to pass it down to. And here's the problem. What you're getting is yes, we've clocked onto this right now that the farming age average is really high and they're going to be letting go of a lot of land soon. But also the big banks have acknowledged this. How do I know? Well, there's like countless stories online now recently, farm owners saying that corporations and big banks are silently coming in to offer huge amounts of money for this farmland. Now, that's probably Bill Gates, but the point is, these other companies are coming in and now slowly, quietly, without sounding the alarm, trying to buy this farmland from people. And let's face it, farmers don't like the idea of selling their land to corporations and banks. They don't like that idea. What is more preferential to them, of course, is to either generate a yield, we could talk about that in a second, but also they want to sell it to people. They don't want to sell it to companies. There presents you an opportunity to be actually more favored than a bank to purchase one of these pieces of land. And you can go on Zillow in the US, you can go on Rightmove in the UK, and you can go on realestate.com.au in Australia and just filter it by land and farmland. And I would say, like, start planting the seed now. No pun intended, but that was actually quite good. Go to these farms, meet the owners, meet the farmers, and ask them if talk about this situation. Get a feel. What you might do from those conversations is this is truly, if you're serious about all of this, you might get from these conversations. People say, "Oh, it's not me. I've got a son that I'm passing it down to, or a daughter that I'm passing my farm down to." But the guy down the road, he literally doesn't know what he's doing with his farm, and he wants to. He needs options. And he's been approached by this guy, and this guy worked at this bank, and he's going to buy it from him, and he doesn't really want to do that. you can only get that insight and that information if you go to these farms and just like knock on the door. And so what I've seen is a few people. There's one person here called Alexandra Fassulo. She's actually done this. She did this. She made a video, very similar title to what I've did on this, because she captured a lot of attention with this video. She went out to one of these farms. She got a loan to buy this farm, which you wouldn't necessarily need to do, but you could with your digital assets later down the line. She bought one of these farms. Some Amish people helped her put her whole barn together, and she started farming from scratch. Like, she doesn't know anything, but she's growing her own food and living that off-grid life that I know many of you want. So she went out and got a loan, and she did this whole process successfully, and now she's living on this farmland that she bought. It's so cool. It's really, really cool. So I wrote a few notes down here and talked with ChatGPT about this a little bit, but you can go on Zillow and you can go on Rightmove and realestate.com.au. The problem is these farmers don't necessarily have, they're not that technically minded about like listing things online. So go there, talk to them, and you'll get way more information than you'll get from Zillow or any of these other places. And this farmland is everywhere, literally everywhere. It was even mentioned that there's farmland like 2 hours away from New York City, that you're in the middle of nowhere. And here's how you can help farmers in their current situation. Farmers will actively look to portion off, almost tokenize sections of their farmland. That brings me to an idea, actually, tokenizing farmland for this upcoming wealth transfer. Anyway, don't take that idea. I shouldn't have said that out loud. What you can do is you can go up to a farmer, and let's say he's got 100 acres or something. You can say, can I rent 5 acres from you? They're likely to do that at a very low rate. Like, she was saying that she's renting a couple of acres here for like $500 a month from the farmer. So the farmer has less stress for that piece of land, doesn't have to maintain that land, is getting an income from that land, acknowledging that if they stop working on that farmland, having a yield for them is going to be quite good. But then also you can go the other way and buy a section of their land and see what you can see what you're allowed to build on that land as well. So this is a really big opportunity. I think all that farmland is moving hands, and we can take advantage of that by finally breaking free of the system and going to live out in the boonies. Let's see if I've missed anything else here. Yeah, I think this is just the sign for if you've ever been considering breaking away from the traditional system, you can do this off grid. You just need a piece of land that you can call your own. I think this is a really, really interesting opportunity. And when you look at the timeline of events right now, you've got pre-bull run, which is where we are right now. We should all be planning for taking profits, making a plan of action for what we're actually going to do with the crypto when it rises. With that, once we've executed that, obviously that's quite a big ordeal to do, certainly on your own. Once you've made that money, now what do we do with the money? This is a fantastic option. Let's get into some farmland. And if we think the bull run is close, you should probably be starting to think about this farmland thing seriously now, right? Because that's not far away. The conversation, you might have a conversation with a farmer, and it might take 1.5 years just to get the land, right? Well, in 1.5 years' time, you could be in a very different situation than you are now financially. And this is an opportunity, I think. So what I've gone and done is I've created a series of templates that you can use to message these farmers in your country, right? You'll be able to fill in the blanks for the location that you're in and the location that the farms are in and stuff. And these will range from being very like amenable to very professional. You can choose the kind of ones you want. But I think this might be useful as a first step for you if you want to reach out to these people by email or a text or whatever it is, or a letter to their address if they're not in. You can just copy and paste these templates, fill in the blanks, and send them off, and that'll be the first step done. Now I would just love to be responsible for that first step, getting you over that hurdle of having to go and actually reach out to them. Let me write the message. The link to get those and download those is in the description. In doing so, you'll also register for my newsletter, which I send multiple emails out a week. Some of them are really useful, some of them talking about some student successes that I've had and stuff. So if you're okay with all of that, use the link in the description to do so, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck farming.